From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Brayden Neville.
On today's episode, I'm joined by Ticats head coach and offensive coordinator Scott Milanovich to discuss the newly announced coaching staff for the 2024 season, offseason signings and re-signings, and the trade that saw Jordan Williams become a Ticat. It's Friday, February 2nd, 2024, and you're listening to Ticats Today. Happy Friday and happy Groundhog Day. And some good news, I think, if you believe in the whole Groundhog Day phenomenon. Ontario's groundhog, Weirton Willie, I have no idea how to say his name, but he didn't see his shadow. So as I learned on the internet today, that means that there will be a shorter winter, I guess. So if you believe in a groundhog telling you when the seasons are going to change, then you're in luck because we're going to have a shorter winter. If you were looking for the 2024 coaching staff for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, then you're also in luck because it has been announced today, starting off with head coach Scott Milanovich, who will return as the offensive play caller as well. He'll be your offensive coordinator. Defensive coordinator Mark Washington will return, and special teams coordinator this year will be Paul Boudreau. He was in Winnipeg for the last 7 seasons. He'll make his way from Winnipeg for the first time in 8 years. So Mike Gibson returns as the O-line coach. Jared Baines will continue as QB coach. And then lots of new names. Naaman Roosevelt, former Rough Riders standout at receiver, will coach the receivers. Glenn Young, former Argos DC, will be coming in as the D-line coach. Brandon Isaac will coach the DBs. Michael Fletcher, the linebackers. Myers Splatunik will be the offensive quality control person. And Alex Penns will be the assistant video coordinator. So lots of new faces on this coaching staff, and joining me to talk about it is head coach and offensive coordinator Scott Milanovich. Scott, thanks for taking some time out of your busy day. I know it's been a very busy schedule and off season so far for you.
No, my pleasure. Yeah, we've been busy, but getting some things done. Obviously, free agency, or the beginnings of free agency, open Sunday, so a lot going on.
It's an exciting time of year, like you said, free agency, players re-signing, but the 2024 coaching staff for the Hamilton Tiger Cats has been announced, and I want to touch on a few of these guys, and the first one being new special teams coordinator Paul Boudreau, former Blue Bombers special teams coordinator.
Yeah, Paul is a guy I didn't know real well. Obviously, I've had a long relationship with Mike O'Shea. He and I worked together in Toronto, and Mike arguably is one of, if not the best special teams coordinator the league's seen. And for Mike to have the kind of respect for Paul to where he allowed Paul to do that job for 7 years, to me that spoke volumes about his quality of work and his resume.
How did that come about? How did conversations kind of come about for him to come over here to Hamilton?
Yeah, I don't know what the exact situation was relative to Winnipeg. That'd probably be a question more for Mike, but Paul's a Northeast guy. I think he's excited. He's got family in New England. I think he's excited to be back on the East Coast, and I think it was just a good fit for both parties.
There's one name that stands out to me here, Naaman Roosevelt, coming in as the receivers coach, a guy who had a very good career in the CFL. Why did you decide to bring Naaman on board? Yeah,
we're looking for a little bit more juice in the staff altogether, offensively particularly, and Naaman's a young coach that we're going to develop, but when you meet him and you see his smile and his energy, that was a big thing with this coaching staff, was the energy that they're going to have on the field in the meeting rooms. I'm getting older now, and Coach Gibson is getting a little older now. We need to balance that out with some young, energetic guys that can pick up the pace for some of us older guys.
A couple other guys, former Argos DC, Glenn Young will come in as the D-line coach, and then Brandon Isaac will be in as the DB coach. So what kind of expertise do you think those two can bring to this defense?
Yeah, both guys. Well, Brandon Isaac first. I coached Brandon, so I've known him for a long time. One of the things I learned in my first go-around as a head coach was when you have success, you ultimately end up losing coaches. So I wanted to have the ability to have our next defensive coordinator in-house, and between Brandon and Glenn, who's done it, I think we're in a safe spot there should Mark get a better job a year from now or right now for that matter. So Brandon's another guy that has high energy. Same thing with Glenn in a different way. Glenn's a front seven guy. He'll coach the D-line for us, but loves football, big family man. Both guys, I think they're really going to mesh well with Mark. and again, bring us a lot of juice on the defensive side of the ball.
The one final guy in this new group I want to talk about, Michael Fletcher, a Grey Cup champion coming to Hamilton's favorite group, the linebackers, coaching that linebacking grouop. A little bit of a trend here, Coach. A lot of former Argos joining the dark side here in Hamilton.
I didn't even think about that. Well, I don't know. Was our president or was he originally an Argo or originally a Ticat? I don't remember that far back.
Me neither.
I didn't think about that. But Fletch is another guy. I mean, we had a staff Zoom meeting the other day, and when you just see his face, you know what kind of energy he's going to bring. Expertise in the CFL, spent time in the NFL, spent time in Division I football at Arizona State. Just a tremendous passion for the game. I think our linebackers will really respect him and respond.
And you'll be taking over the duties once again as offensive coordinator as well as head coach. Was it important for you to kind of build off what you were doing last season and having that strong second half when you joined the group and continuing that for this year?
Yeah, I think you'll see some new wrinkles this year. We were able to get some of what I would have liked to have done last year. I even mentioned at the time it was going to be impossible to do it all, but the continuity with Jared Baines and Mike Gibson offensively, both of those guys are excellent football coaches. Jared will be working directly with me in the quarterback room and game planning and things like that. So the fact that I had those 10 games or whatever it was with those guys was critical because I know what they're capable of. I know how well we can work together, and I know we can grow with the knowledge of we already know what is in the room, or at least was before free agency. So I think it gives us a little bit of a head start over a completely new staff.
It'll be interesting to see the staff and get to meet these guys in May. I want to jump into some of the offseason acquisitions you've been making already. The biggest one happening earlier this week, Jordan Williams. What do you see from this guy and bringing him over here?
Yeah, I remember Jordan when he came out. I think that might have been the year I was in Edmonton. Athletic, runs to the ball, hits, loves the game. I love his background. He's got a military background and his family. And obviously a Canadian player that can start, can play special teams, just a lot of value, a lot of flexibility, and still young. So I thought that was a great pickup by our personnel staff.
One thing right off the bat you guys kind of addressed is bringing back that offensive line and keeping that core unit together. How big was that for you to get those guys all back here for next season?
Yeah, it's critical. I mean, I think most people, I'm not a personnel guy, but I've been around it long enough to know most people will tell you that you build a football team, you start with the quarterback, then you secure the offensive line, and then you rush the passer. And, if we've got the first two done, we're still working on the D-line, but I'm really pleased about where we're at with the offensive line, particularly those three interior guys work so well together. I think it was important to keep them together. Getting Jordan back was great. Getting Figs back and healthy will be awesome. So really feeling good about where we're at on the offensive line right now.
Another recent signing, Felix Garan-Gauthier. What can you say about your time working with him on the offense last season and bringing him back here for 2024?
Yeah, Gigi's a pleasure to work with. Plays special teams, really smart, does anything you can ask, and can fill in at running back if you need to. Just another guy that's really flexible. It's just a pleasure to see him every day. Loves playing ball, and he'll do anything you ask. So he's an easy one to coach. Really excited to have him back too.
One signing that might have flew under the radar a little bit, but I think could be really beneficial to that offense, Cameron Batson. He'll be at camp in May. What can you say about him and your scouting report on him?
Yeah, I saw Cam last year. We tried to get him in kind of middle of the year. Watched some tape with Spencer Zimmerman on him when he was with the Titans. Reminds me a little bit, I hate to anoint guys before I've ever seen him live, but he reminds me a little bit of Andrew Hawkins. I talked to him a week or so ago. That's who he reminds me of, a guy with really good spot quickness, can get releases, can play inside or outside, has the ability to return, I believe, also. But a guy we're really excited about. He's going to have to come in and earn a spot, but a lot of talent there, I think.
Well, Coach, I know it's a busy time of year for you, but what do these next few weeks look like for you and the rest of this front office and coaching staff?
Yeah, from a coaching staff perspective, we've been meeting a number of times a week. Starting February, we're getting into the really specific meetings of offensively, we're building our playbook, figuring out what we're going to call everything. plan to have that done hopefully by the end of the month and have the playbook out and those sort of things. We're going to do a little cross training with the defensive coaches and the offensive coaches. And then from obviously a personnel standpoint, we've got the beginnings of free agency really starting Sunday. So that'll be fast and furious, and then it'll be moving on to the combine and the CFL draft. So before we know it, we're going to be back in training camp and getting this thing started.
I'm excited to watch some football, Coach. I'll let you get to it. Once again, head coach and offensive coordinator Scott Milanovich. I'm sure we'll be talking lots over these next few months as the re-signings continue and the free agency starts. So once again, thanks a lot, Coach, for joining me today.
Thanks, Brayden. Have a good day.